Welcome to the Plains People Podcast. My name is Mark Gaviglio. This will be episode 7 coming out on July 29th. If you're wondering what the Plains People Podcast is, it is me talking to somebody from around the Fargo Moorhead area in my basement about their lives. And the life we're talking about today is the owner and manager of Big Nick's. It's a card shop that's in the basement of the mall. It's been going on for like 27 years. The guy has a lot of cool things to talk about running a business for that long, about running a business in such a niche thing like sports cars and gaming cards. And also we got a little bit in the politics. We got a lot of other stuff. So it's a pretty good talk, and I'm really excited to share it to you. So here you go. Plains People Podcast, episode 7. Sit back, grab a beer, put on a Hawaiian shirt, and get ready for Big Nick. Okay, so how long have you been running Big Nick's comic shop?
It'll be 27 years August 1st.
Wow, only 2 years younger than me. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, old.
Yeah. It's okay. You look old too. It's fine.
6,300 years old.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 27 years, and you haven't always been in your location.
Yes. Well, close. I was down the hall.
Yeah,
I was down the hall across from jewelry and watch repair, and then
which isn't the thing anymore either.
Well,
or is it?
Sure, jewelry and watch repair.
Is that still down there?
Yeah, they're still there.
So if I go down in the basement of West Acres and walk down the hallway, there'll be a jewelry and watch repair?
Jack owned it for many years, and now Jackson owns it. Yeah, they're still there.
Wow, Jesus.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't have a lot of jewelry or watches that need repaired. The only one I wear is the wedding ring. And
yeah. Well, I'll tell you a story about
that.
Jack,
okay,
from original jewelry and watch repair, gave me 6 months because he's a great guy.
But you're selling baseball cards.
Yeah, but he had,
So 6 months.
I don't think even today a lot of the older people know where the card market is. They think of like the 50s, 60s when you paid 5, 10 cents, 25 cents a card. They're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
So it's Greek to them, and so they don't understand. But yeah, Jack, I was always told, I gave you 6 months.
6 months.
27 years later, did you see yesterday a 101 Mike Trout sold for $400,000?
Jesus. For a tiny piece of cardboard.
Yeah. People.
$400,000.
Yeah. So that's where we're going back to Jack. Most people, even my age and especially older, don't have a clue this is going on. That a card will bring.
Well, just even comic books. I'll tell people at the factory. Like, when I tell them I have a couple $1,000s worth of comic books, they go, well, that's not real. You couldn't sell them. I'm like, I could.
Right.
No, it's real money.
Right. Right. We were goofing off one day. No, we don't do that. We were goofing around at Big Nick's. And we were trying to figure out what the best collectible investment, let's say, in the last about 100 years would be. And Mickey Mantle.
Is that lawnmower again? All right. We're going to have to deal with it. Okay. The guy has to do his job.
Okay. Yeah, there he is.
Jesus.
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So the best
were a Mickey Mantle PSA 9 just sold 2 months ago for $2.8 million. You could have probably bought that card a few years ago for
really
$500,000.
And now it's two. Yeah.
2.8.
But of course, who has $500,000 to buy one, and then the risk of it jumping or $1.5 million is crazy.
But you mentioned comic books.
Yeah.
Number one investment.
Yeah.
Superman.
Number one.
1939?
Action Comics number 1. Yeah.
Right.
30.
That, because you could have bought those for a nickel and bought as many as you want.
And now even if they're ripped in half, they're worth $1 million.
There you go.
Yeah, because there's somebody put one in a wall. This is a story a couple of years ago. Right. And then they were remodeling. Yeah. And then found it in the wall, and then one guy yanked at it and ripped it in half, and still taped it together and sold it for $1 million. That's investment. Yeah. But we had Rich Early from Paradox in here, and he was talking about just even recently they're jumping up. A comic that I thought was way less. Right. Like I thought the first or the Death of Gwen Stacy was like a couple $1,000 book, and he's like it was like 4 years ago, but they're jumping like insane right now. But that's not saying anything about if you go and buy comics every single day, like I got a bunch of just normal ones.
No.
There's a needle in a haystack situation. Actually, I got a couple that I bought right off the rack that are actually worth some right now. But I mean, I'm saying they're going from $3 to $100, which is still cool in my eyes. But especially Walking Dead, as there was a while where every time they introduced a new character on the Walking Dead comics, you knew they were going to be on the TV in a month, and then you knew they were going to be, and that's what happened. Is I got a couple of those, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've watched lately, like Sotheby's and Christie's Auction Center in New York. Mm-mm. Okay, all the auctions are going. Hey, did you Prince's auction in Minneapolis last month?
Oh God, no!
Okay,
I knew it was
that
happening.
went way above what they were estimating. The Rockefeller auction in May went way above what there was. Well, you got to understand, if we're going to get a little, the government just gave away $2 trillion.
Yeah.
So these people have a lot of money, a lot more money than they had the day before.
Yeah.
So with all that money, if you want to get good, buy the better stuff. That's what's going to continue to go up in value. An Andy Warhol or something like that. I mean, if I'd have bought an Andy Warhol when I was your age, I'd be down in Jamaica having a beverage.
Well,
because the price has just that stuff is only going to get better and better and better because the rich get richer and richer.
But breaking into those extremely, having a product or producing a product that's going to somehow be in that echelon is, impossible almost. Those are lightning in a bottles. Those Warhols, the first appearances of Superman, like those are things that only come around once every, and that's why they're worth so much. Yeah.
Well, you got guys. LeBron is doing well. A Jordan PSA 10, probably 20 to 30.
What's PSA 10 mean? Sorry, I'm not.
Well, that's the name of the company. Professional.
Oh. Okay. All right. So it's the name of the card company.
PSA is the company.
Okay.
Professional.
Something.
Authentic. I should know it. I should know that.
But for people who don't know anything about cards, they're just gonna say PSA 10, and we're like, what is that? Like a clone of Michael?
That's a company that authenticates the cards and grades the cards.
Okay. So let's move back. I got you happy because we're talking about cards, so then we can move back. Sure. So before you got into cards, first off, your name's not Big Nick, right? You just like the name Nick. How'd you come up with Big Nick?
It's my son.
Okay.
My oldest son is.
Yeah, and I believe I went to school with him in elementary school. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
How old are you?
29. He was. Yeah. Horseman.
Yes.
Yeah. We never really talked. But,
no way.
But yeah. I mean, I remember once when I first went in there, you had a picture with you and him in the shop, and I was like, hey, that's Nick. I know Nick. And that was it. Even after I was talking to you, I was still in high school with him, and I still never hey, sometimes I bullshit with your dad when I'm at the mall. Like, it's a weird conversation.
So you went to Fargo North?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Graduated, so I got held back a year, so I graduated the year after him.
Just a year?
Yeah, just a year after. Right? They stopped caring. They realize it's a lost battle, and they just pass you.
Gave up.
They call
Let them go.
They call it social promotion is what they call that. Like, fuck it. He ain't going to pass it next year either. You just pass it.
I'm sorry, Mark.
No, it's fine.
You left the door open.
I know.
I'm
I've never had any illusions about my intelligence. I try to run everything off of charisma because to hedge my bets. I'm not strong or smart, so I have to at least be charming.
We've known each other 100 years. So you graduated in 07?
08.
08, okay.
Or 9. 09. He graduated in 08. I graduated
Nick is 07.
Then I must be 08.
Okay, you're...
Yeah, I don't know. I just said intelligence wasn't my strong suit.
You were told there'd be no math today.
No shit. You're like, get comfortable, have a beer. Now, what's the square root of a blah, 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 blah? Fuck off. Yeah, so I graduated a year after him.
All right.
Yeah, but we never ran in the same circles. I was a giant nerd, magic cards and stuff like that, which brought me into your shop. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he ever subscribed as a nerd by any means, so we never really hung out. But
no, sports, I guess.
Yeah. Wonder why.
Yeah.
So then So then it was literally like Nick got born. A couple years later, you named the shop after him. Because if it was 27 and he was
Right,
he's
he was
29
born
or
in
30.
'89, and I started in '91.
Okay,
and Big
that's
Nick's,
awesome. He wasn't very big
If I
at
told
the
you my
time.
real name, then it would scare everybody away. So
No,
we're not going to go
The
there.
funny thing is, I know your real name, and I
Yeah.
never call you it.
No.
I always call you
Good.
Mr. Big.
Yeah, that's right.
So what should we call this podcast? Should we call it the Big Nick Podcast?
Sure.
Because I usually put names.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Well, that's an egg I want to crack. So, well, we'll get to it. So, where'd you grow up? In town?
No. Castleton, later
Out of town, just
Hastings,
slightly out of
Minnesota.
Okay, so little towns over there.
Little towns.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
Castleton still the same thing it is now? Is
I
just
believe so.
a hotel and 5 houses and that's it?
No, Castleton's growing really good. It's
Really?
Probably 2,500 people.
No way.
I
did
when
not
I
know
left,
that.
people came flocking in. They
Yeah.
said he's gone.
Yeah. Then everyone ran from here.
That's right.
When did you get out of Castleton then? When you were a
When
kid?
did I?
Yeah.
When I graduated, and
So you graduated from there?
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they gave me a.
You graduated?
Yeah,
See, I
I
can
know,
throw back
see?
at you now.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out of here. Yep, it's 73.
73.
Way back.
Yeah, a little bit before I was
Right
born.
after the wheel was invented. We were so grateful. I tell you.
You must have been freaked out when they invented the train.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah. Not to get me started on cars, but yeah. So then so what'd you get into right after high school? So that's about a 15-year gap or more. I'm not doing math again between graduation and opening the card shop. So
Well,
what's that gap?
I have a degree in criminal justice.
You do?
I do.
So does
I
my
do.
wife, actually. That's her
Pardon?
degree.
And I worked at the sheriff's department for a while.
No way.
I did, yeah.
Like
Well,
as
I was going
as a
to-
cop, you were a
Well,
policeman.
I was a jailer dispatcher for Ward County up in Minot. I went to school up at Minot State College,
Jeez,
and so I worked there.
criminal
Going to
justice, and you
college.
worked at the sheriff's office.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was pretty young. And boy, I tell you, it was a eye-opening experience.
Yeah, what is that like? I was just gonna say that's got to be a crazy job.
You deal with a lot of people who like to drink too much. I always worked the C shift, they call it. From
Yeah.
midnight to 8 because I'm a night person.
Yeah.
People really know, man. I'm not
Third shift.
the best morning.
Yeah,
person.
the second out or the third out of the
Yeah,
8-hour
so
shifts.
I took the videos of all the drunks and
From
fights and
what a.m. to 8?
midnight to
Midnight
8.
to 8. So that's you got about an hour before bar
Well,
close,
then
and then it gets.
then I'd go to school, and I was probably done with school by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Then I'd sleep.
Jeez, so
back
you
up,
would
go to
wake
work.
up for work at midnight, and you work
That's
your
my
8-hour
best
shift.
time, though. This is early for me, Mark. This is early.
Jesus. Trust me, I've been on summer mode. I don't know how I'll be able to do the factory tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I have to wake up. I got to set the alarm clock before 6 o'clock tomorrow. Then my phone's gonna not even be awake yet.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like, give me an hour before I'm even gonna turn on. Like
I'm with you.
it's too early. I feel like I gotta get blackout drunk by 7 p.m. today just so I'm asleep.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm kidding. I don't have that much beer. You already saw it. One of my roommates drank a lot of my beer
Well,
today.
we put a plug in for that Dakota Soul. That was.
Yeah.
Did you read that
You
in the
like it?
paper? Yeah.
No, I don't know where.
The Summit Brewing. The guy is from. North Dakota. What town was he from? Oh darn, I can't think of it right off. He's the owner.
Mm-hmm.
He's the founder.
Of Summit's in Minneapolis, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But
So he
his
did
family has a farm up here in North
Crazy.
Dakota.
I feel like everybody
is it
does.
Wahpeton or? I was trying to think. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he did a Dakota Soul beer. Is it good? I haven't had it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had a friend
Yeah.
who was buying nothing but 6-packs, and then he was taking one beer out, and then was
Right.
just saving the one beer.
Yes.
And then he moved to Texas, and he forgot to drink all of his beer, so he gave them all to me because he didn't want to bring a bunch of, beer with him.
Friend in need is a friend indeed.
Yeah, and
there,
then somebody
boy,
drank
I
half
tell
of them. So I didn't. This is like the first one out of that one I opened up. I was like, there's supposed to be like 10 beers in here. What happened? My roommate drank last night when I was sleeping, so yeah, it's fine. I mean, she has to put up with my personality, so I guess she can still send my beers.
There you go.
I'm okay with it. I understand I'm not an easy pill to swallow at the time. Okay, so what got you out of the sheriff's office then?
Drunks.
You just sick of it?
Well,
You could have switched to a different shift, right?
I was awfully young at the time. I have an associate arts degree, so I graduated at age 20. I wasn't even 21.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a 2-year degree.
Okay.
And I was 20 at the time. And
So you weren't even
the
able...
sheriff wanted to send myself and another jailer to the academy, which would have started in July.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 5, I just thought, I don't think this is for me right now. There was there was fights. We had a little room, probably as wide as this room.
This is a tiny room.
Yeah, this was pretty. But if you multiplied this room by about 4 times longer, 5 times longer.
So like
that was the sheriff's department back in 1976 when I worked there. It was really small.
Yeah, skinny and long. Yeah.
And people who drink too much fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I wanted to get my teeth knocked out for $4 an hour.
If you're only getting $4 an hour,
that's what I was making back then.
They were paying college graduate $4 an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky bastards.
Well, I hadn't quite graduated yet. So, but no, then we did security for dances, and then back then it would make $10 an hour.
Jeez.
That's pretty good, 1976.
Yeah, all right.
So,
what was the minimum wage back then? Was there minimum wage back then?
Probably $4 an hour.
Okay. It didn't change too much then because when until it did. Recently it changed. But when I first started working, I worked at a McDonald's in the mall.
Yeah.
And the minimum wage was $5.15. And I was getting, and then, so I got $5.15. And then it moved up to $5.50. And that was my first raise I've ever had was the minimum wage moving to $5.50.
Right.
And then next thing I know, it's $9.
Stop it! I tell you, yeah.
Geesh.
So you know John. John was your boss.
John.
Okay.
Yeah, John. That's how I started working at McDonald's. It's funny. Right. I was just talking to my buddy Barrett, who we were talking about John. But yeah, no, I knew John through my buddy Barrett. He was dating John's girlfriend, who worked at Subway back in the day, Brendan. Or he was dating.
I was gonna say he was dating.
He was no. Sorry. That's Barrett's sister is Brendan, who is later got married to John. So that's how I kind of got into a lot of the nerd stuff was him. He brought me into magic cards and other stuff. Yeah. I mean, I was always a different type of nerd, but then I got out of I got out of magic in college because it's just too damn expensive. I couldn't afford my addictive personality didn't work with that. It was too expensive for how fast I want to shove things into my arms. So I moved over to comic books and yeah, that was good for a long time. So. But yeah, so I traded one nerd drug for another nerd drug, is how I put it. Yeah, so I think of comics as like the weed. You know, you buy it like once a week, you read it on your break and you calm down. And then magic is more like the meth. You know, you and a bunch of people just stay up for days just doing magic.
Yeah, they do that.
And I think of role-playing like Dungeons & Dragons, which is another thing I do. But I don't play D&D, I play other games. I think of that as drinking. Because I'll have like 6 guys over, we'll sit around a table and we'll do it for about 6 hours, and then we all have headaches the next day.
Yikes.
So that's the nerd drugs are. That's my analogy.
Yeah.
So I had to get off of the nerd meth, which was magic. I had to back off of that. But you sell it, so you're a peddler.
It's all Greek to me, but I sell it.
Yeah, so you don't understand any of it.
I understand enough to sell it, Mark.
Yeah.
I understand
you never
enough
played
that I've
it
been selling it for 20...
Since it came out.
No, I missed magics. I missed antiquities and legend. I got in, I believe, in about 3rd edition, so I missed the first 2 years about.
But you realize there was money, so you're like, and it's...
Well, people asked for it, and my philosophy in my store is if
it sells.
Enough people ask for it, I'll get it. I'll get you anything you want as long as it's legal. That's always been my philosophy.
Well, that's funny. You've gotten me some illegal things. No, I'm kidding. All right, So let's then fill in the gap. So you're not really thinking you're going to want to work at the sheriff's office too much longer. No. So how'd you get?
Then plus my girlfriend was back here, so that was another force to deal with. So
very important force.
Well, no, my wife. So
same lady.
Same way. 112 years we've been together.
You guys been together for 112 years.
Time.
You're still married to her.
I am.
Jesus.
45 years we've been together.
Man,
that's a long
time. I gotta make sure my wife knows that's possible, because we don't think it's possible. We're already planning. Every once in a while, we'll see somebody and we're like, "That's perfect second marriage material." Is what I'll say to her, and she'll laugh, and she'll say the same thing next time we're out. Because I'm on a 3 marriage plan.
Oh,
So
I can't afford the old one, let alone a new one. So I don't know how you can do that. Wow.
3 marriage plan is is you marry somebody who you really like, but you're a piece of shit, so you ruin it. I'm on that already.
Okay.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
And then don't worry, I got those
You
ducks
got
in a
that
row.
covered?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the second one is you're a piece of shit, and the new one's a piece of shit,
Oh.
and you're only married for about a year or two, and you
Okay.
hate each other, and it's bad.
Okay.
It's just ruined at the start. That's the second
Gotcha.
marriage.
Uh-huh.
Third one can be from the same one as number one. You can do a repeat,
oh.
or it's a new one. But either way,
her younger sister than your
yeah. Whoever it is, but you've already learned your lesson from the first two, and they've already learned their lesson, and then the third one, you guys get together in your 40s or 50s, and you're together forever.
There you go.
That's 3 marriage plan.
There you go. Wow.
So I gave her another year. We're getting out.
I think there's a book involved here, isn't there?
No.
Some book material.
I'm barely literate. I don't read good enough for the podcast. I don't know how I'll do on writing a book. But that's what I always tell the 3 marriage plan. And you skipped it. You just went with the one.
I guess, yeah.
Or you just prolonging this one?
I went by so fast I didn't have time to think about a 3.
45 years go by fast
45
now?
years, yeah.
Oh my God. I this first year of our marriage went by slow. I don't know how 45 goes
45,
fast.
yeah, I know. Yikes.
Yeesh.
Yeah, scary.
So what'd she do? Did she work the whole time?
No.
Oh.
When the boys were young, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
Till Ben was 13 and Nick would have been 16, and then she was a part-time optician prior.
What's an optician?
Optician, which a lot of people think is this doctor that makes a lot of money, and I'm going, I wish.
Yeah.
She'll help you fit your glasses.
Oh, okay. Like an optometrist, but slightly different.
Doesn't quite make what an optometrist.
Oh, okay. So it's like baby's first optometrist. It's like the other.
There's a little difference between a pharmacist and a pharmacy tech. Not that tech people aren't good people, I know, but there's a big difference here.
You're right. I got a lot of pharmacy tech people listening to this. You don't want to piss them off.
Well,
they're half my crowd.
I think that's the difference between a year or two of college, like me, and 6 years.
The difference between a paralegal and a lawyer. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. They work the same hours, but not the same pay.
Yep.
Or a dentist, or what do they call it?
Hygienist.
Dental hygienist and a dentist.
Same.
Okay. So she would work with optometrists, but she's not.
Yeah, well, then the boys got older and an opportunity. I said, it's your call. They were 13 and 16. And so then she started working at Sanford.
Oh, cool.
And that's where she is.
And she's still working there now?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. And you guys still talk and everything?
I believe we do, yes. No, we text. That's what all the young people do. You ever see young people? We're always amazed.
You're saying young people. Old. I'm literally texted during this conversation. I'm 29.
Watch a date of 2 young people, 25. They don't talk to each other. They're sitting. I say to my wife, I believe they're texting each other because there's no verbal communication.
And somehow the guy still gets laid at the end. He must have some bad game.
There must be a grunt in there or something to acknowledge.
Just text. And then the girl's like, yeah, all right, I'm in. I had a friend, talk about modern dating, which I haven't done, because I met Leslie. We barely even dated. We met each other and
love at first sight,
something like that.
Okay.
Well, it took me a while to beat down her will a little bit. I had to be like, no one but me.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, no. So I have a friend who was doing Twitter, things like that, and I've never done Twitter because it came out after I was already with my lady, and he said that he had a Twitter date, and the girl left like, oh, this is a good date, blah, 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 and he paid and everything, and he thought it really went well, and then he felt the need for a drink, so he went from Grazie's, where the date was, over to Lucky 13's to get a drink, and he walked in, and she was on a second Twitter date with a whole other guy right at the restaurant, and he's like, should I wave? Do you walk up and say hi? Do you be like, don't buy her that much food, dude, she just ate.
Wow.
Like, what do you do?
Make sure you bring a coupon.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all ages. They had a deal on 60 minutes or Dateline, Nightline, or whatever. Older people do that.
Yeah.
65, 70. They're getting free breakfast, free lunch, free supper, or whatever. Gals are just
doing the Twitter.
One gal, she was on her 3rd date for the day, and she was like 70. That was on TV. I'm like, oh
I've had a couple Twitter dates with some 70-year-olds, and I tell you, they're not appreciative of my money. I'm not ageist. See, I'm talking to you.
Hey, it's America.
Your marriage is almost 20 years older than my life. So
yeah,
kidding, not kidding. All right. Okay. So she started working. Yeah. But that was all right. So we're still. So what brought you to the shop of the idea to actually open it?
Okay.
So you had your lady. You had your lady a kid, and then 2 years later the shop. So how'd that happen? How were kids made?
I believe I had a brain fart one day because I had a very lucrative career. I sold real estate. I had my real estate license also.
I've seen you sell cardboard, so you must be pretty good with houses.
I thank you. Did very well. Nice. 10 years in real estate, and I guess a new challenge in life. I was hired over from a company to train agents, so I was training and selling, and then one of the agents coming in was into cards, and I hadn't collected cards since the 60s.
Yeah.
And sports cards. What are we doing? Really?
Yeah.
So I watched that market. I would be out at Treasure Island, on a slow day and watch that, and I thought, good God, this looks kind of interesting. But so I thought I even had a year to think about it, and still did it, and left a career that still I wake up in a cold sweat. But no, it's been.
You've held the business for 27 years. You at least have that badge, because how many people now can't run them past 3? So.
Well, the guys said there's an article a few years ago in ESPN magazine that in the early 90s they estimate there was about 5,000 card shops in America.
Okay.
And now they estimate somewhere in the 700 to 800 range. So it's a brutal attrition. You're probably running about 80-85%.
Well, there was even more in town here at one point.
There were 7 when I opened. There was 3 at the mall.
Yeah, wow.
There was Treasure Island, and then a guy named Gordy had one in Sears, if you remember. Sears had one.
No, I didn't know Sears had one. I think I slightly remember Treasure Island.
Treasure Island.
When did that close up?
Well, no, they still go on. They just do so well in coins. So
they were selling. Okay, yeah, that's the place right over by Arby's.
Right, they're right across the street.
Yeah, I always thought they were I always thought Treasure Island was like a front or something.
A casino?
Oh. No, I thought that there was just it had to have been a mob front. Because every time you walk by, there's just guys in suits. They got expensive stuff in there. It's like whoever's owning that's like a gangster. That's how I always thought.
Well, they move a lot of coins, I can tell you that. So they're doing well.
So they're doing well if they're gangsters.
Doing real well.
Yeah. I don't think there's any Fargo mob, but I don't know.
Not that I know of.
I got an Italian last name. I should get into it.
You gotta start your first chapter.
Yeah.
You gotta have the south side of Fargo. You gotta divvy up the town.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some hardcore kids in South Side. Or there was when I was a kid, at least. But, all right, so
I make this move, and people thought, what is wrong with that guy? They thought, oh boy, but I made the move, and 27 years later, here we are.
Wow,
it's hard to believe. Last man standing.
How was explaining that to, your wife's parents?
My wife was really good about it.
Okay.
I gotta be honest. She was really good.
Yeah.
Because I left a career that was really good.
Yeah, and she said, follow your heart, do what you got to do.
Other than what? No, she was very supportive.
That's good. Yeah. Sounds almost like you guys are gonna make it.
Okay, could be close.
Yeah.
Could be close. I don't know. Yeah.
Giving up now, it's like you're giving the other one the satisfaction. At this point, it's that's an old Alan King joke. He said that his parents,
Alan King,
70 stand up for you. I love my stand up. I watch them all. But there's an old Alan King joke where he said that his parents were together for 50 years and they both died when they were 100 years old, and he asked his dad, how come you guys have lived so long? And he's like, I want to give your mom the satisfaction.
Right. Well, I don't know. Okay, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I mean,
she's gonna outlive me. There's no doubt.
Well, that's just biology.
I just concede on that one because I got worse habits.
I've never seen her, and I know you're in worse shape. I know that. Just kidding. Well, I'm not one to talk. I have the same build as you do, and I'm 29. So
I like to have a cigar and gamble and all that stuff you're not supposed to do. So that's why I guess.
You like to gamble?
Oh. I've been gambling since in high school.
Well, I guess if you're a salesman, you're a gambler. I feel like there's a big...
Well, I think if you're getting into retail,
you're
a gambler. With an 80% chance of you not make 80% of small businesses don't make it. So
that's just a long game.
You're past the gambler. You're into the lunatic.
Yeah, that's just a horse race that's going to last a long time.
These are not good odds. This is not a good deal. No.
And then you made it this far, and you're like, I must have great luck. All right.
I always, the old story about Lou Gehrig, saying he's the luckiest man. Remember when he had the disease and he was at Yankee Stadium, and I'm the luckiest man in the world. I always tell people I'm the second luckiest because I have the best customers.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
I've always tried to promote fun. That's number one.
I don't think you're that great because I never spend money there.
You're so cheap.
I'm just
you're so
customer.
cheap though.
Well, yeah, I don't buy cards anymore. I went in there. I used to buy Pokemon. I used to buy Magic, and that's when me and you started bullshit. Now I just go in there to drink my coffee.
Yeah.
And you never kick me out. So
no, I don't.
So maybe it's not the customers; it's you.
We're very tolerant at Big Digs.
Yeah,
very tolerant.
And what's the other guy who works there? Who
Josh.
I like a lot? Josh. Josh is cool. I like Josh.
Josh will own the store in 2 years.
In 2 years, I was gonna get to that. So now we finally made up the grueling couple years of your early life. So let's get to opening the shop. So shop was. It's kind of been the same thing, or has it changed drastically in 27 years?
Well, it's evolved. Evolution, you got to grow or you die.
But it's more slowly evolving, not drastic changes or anything.
Right. But Josh has probably put us over the hump of selling more gaming now than sports, but that can fluctuate depending. Okay, when Carson came in, then sports wins.
Yeah.
Okay, then we go back to gaming, and then when a big player comes in, then the sports people win. If the Twins go to the World Series, then sports people.
I didn't know that sports was still that big of a change. But do you think, or big of a moneymaker? Do you think that you bringing in games and then the other car shops probably didn't bring in gaming, and maybe that's why you've outlived them?
Oh no.
Or what makes you think of? All right, so there was 7. How many card shops are there now in town?
Sports card shops.
Yeah. Besides Paradox, I wouldn't count.
Probably just me.
That's what I thought.
As a full-time open.
So it went from that many sports cards to 1.
Well,
what killed them? You think?
eBay.
Yeah, that will do it. Well, that's
the computer.
Our smartphones kill retail. Period. Right now. I mean, that's not even. It doesn't matter what you're selling.
Yeah. There have been guys who have. Been here, come and gone. There's been other card shops that have tried, and unfortunately, there was a number of them. Well, there was one that was older than me that closed. Yeah. 7 Talking Baseball.
Okay.
They were around before I was.
Really.
And then they had a number of owners.
Okay.
I think they had 3 or 4 owners in the time period, and then the last owner just decided it was time to move on. So that was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago now.
And did you feel like the big Titanfall that you were going to be the next in the row, or
no? That's the worst thing that can happen. Really, competition is the best thing for a business, as long as it's fair. And a quick story: a little guy in my store years ago when Treasure Island was in the mall and we were competing. We were in competition. He came to the store. It couldn't have been 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And he's looking at cards, and I said to him, anything for it? No, I'm just looking. Okay. So off he goes. And I knew he was going up to Treasure Island to check prices. Well, I had helped Steve, and I had sold Steve a home, so I knew Steve very well. But anyway, little guy runs up, and a few minutes later, he comes back down. And he said, I'll take that card right there. And I said, yeah, you were looking at that earlier. Yeah, he said, I was, and you're 5 cents cheaper. I was $19.95. Steve always marked his at even numbers. I knew that. So he was $20.
5 cents cheaper.
That closed the transaction.
So you going down the 95s would just kill the people that you were next to.
But that's, again, whether you're buying
competition,
a car, a truck, a home, you want to compare.
Or a Ken Griffey Jr. baseball card.
Well, now people just get on their phone and compare my prices. Well, so that's fine.
Yeah, I get that, especially with a lot of the collectible selling of you're choosing the price of this, like of a car that's already open, and you're looking down to write this on. It's not like you're selling a package deal that you know how much you have to sell for. There's got to be just something hard on knowing where to price those cards, where you're not going to get screwed and you're not screwing them.
Right. You always want to be fair.
Yeah.
Fair is always. That's the word.
Did it take you a long time to figure out just that, like...
Well, I think I was lucky that I'd been in sales for 10 years prior to that.
Okay.
Real estate did help me.
Yeah.
I get dealing with people.
Yeah.
You know, you want to...
Yeah, that's it. You're selling to the customer.
Right,
It doesn't really matter what you're selling as long as you're speaking English.
So, but you try to be as fair and give them the best value that they can so they come back.
So
that would be good.
So what gave you the... what made you think after 3 years, why don't we start selling Magic cards or gaming cards? Was that the first gaming card you sold?
Say that again?
Was that the first gaming card you sold,
I
not
believe
just
it would
collectible card?
Yes, I believe it would, because my number one distributor is one of the biggest Magic distributors in the country.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I think back, I guess I don't know why we didn't start earlier, but I'm glad we did. And when we did, and maybe people started asking for it more too.
Yeah.
If people said, "You have Magic, you have Magic." Well, if we keep, I am part Norwegian, but eventually, Mark, they're all the Norwegians.
Yeah.
I'm very proud. Okay, but so I brought in Magic, and then Pokemon I got right away.
Yeah,
Pokemon
so that was going to be my next question.
Once I saw that Magic gaming industry.
How did you know? Did you get on Pokemon enough to get that wave of that 1999?
Right.
Holy crap! Every card guy which I discussed with Rich too. Rich said that he didn't jump on it immediately, and
I got it right away. The kids would run down the hall. They were just, it was
unbelievable. Those kids.
Yeah,
I was one of them.
But you were tripping the other kids because I saw it.
Yeah. Well, they deserved it. They were in my way. And the funny thing is, I didn't have any money to buy them either. I just tripped them just to look at them.
Just because. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Pokemon I had right away, and then Yu-Gi-Oh I had right away.
What? Here's a question that relates directly to Pokemon, I think, more than anything else. But what's it like haggling prices with a 7-year-old kid?
Little kids are very... well, I had 2 boys.
Yeah.
And so
So that helped you.
The little kids are sharp.
Yeah.
So, little people are sharp. They are. Parents don't give them enough credit.
Yeah.
These little guys come in, and girls, and they're sharp as tack. Trust me.
Especially...
They'll go, Nick, this is this much, this is this. And I go, okay, yeah, you're right. They are.
Well, I remember
good little people.
when I was trying to sell my rare cards to Rich when I was a kid, and I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Or maybe it was to you. I remember I was trying to sell them, and the funny thing is I knew the value of the card, but I didn't know the value of money itself. Because I was like 10 years old, so I was like, I know a rare this is a Chansey and it's shiny. I know it's worth money, and you're like $1. I'm like, $1? I can't even buy another pack with that. Right. And things like that.
No, it's fun. They're really a treat. They're very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
they are sharp, and the parents are like,
dude, we told them.
right. No, but the parents they don't. That's Greek to them too. They don't know.
Well, I'm sure it's getting a little bit of a change now because
it's been around. So
because parents now grew up with Pokemon.
Exactly.
I'm 29. I'm not a parent, but I could very well be if she just finally let me.
Maybe.
Yeah. The wedding night's taken way longer than I thought.
Yeah.
But there's got to be now parents arguing with their kids over Pokemon at this point.
Well, the parents are bringing them in and want them to. Pokemon is a really good game. Pokemon,
it's easier.
Well, you're doing math. You got to think. Yep. Mom and Dad don't want them on the games all the time. You can't be. So, and then socializing, meet new friends.
Well, then going to tournaments, and there's probably a bunch of kids. Do you guys still do Pokemon tournaments?
Yeah.
Once a week?
Well, every Thursday we have it.
Every
6
Thursday.
o'clock. It's
6
free
o'clock.
in the community room.
And what's the turn on that? Mostly kids? You got a bunch of adults too?
A little bit of everybody from probably, we might have some in there 10 to 30 years old.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into Magic, there was a guy who came in who was retired, and his grandson explained Magic to him, and then he got into it, and he was a 60-something-year-old guy who was playing Magic with us. And no one ever thought twice, because it's just...
Yeah, I had an older gentleman years ago who was playing his grandson. Him and his grandson were having a great time.
I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I remember a very vulgar story from him, which was really hilarious. I can actually tell it because it's my own podcast. So like mid-60s, this guy has to be. And I was just pointing at people when I was talking to him with my pinky out like the Shocker. I was just doing that. And I must have been 16 and just extremely vulgar at the time. And I knew what it meant. Not that I really knew what it meant. And then he goes, Mark, why are you pointing at me with your pinky out? What is that? And without missing a beat, I'm like, 2 for the pink, 1 for the stink. It's a shocker. And he looks at his hand.
There went the G rating.
Yeah, okay. No, we weren't supposed to have a G rating. I can't believe you saved it this long. But so this old dude looks at his hand and goes, "Oh, you mean the 6-pack?" And we all looked over our shoulder. We're like, "What?" He goes, you pick her up, the 6-pack. And we just like, "Oh, wow. Ooh. Why did Mark do that to us?" So anyway, that's one of my favorite Magic tournament stories. There
okay. All right.
If you don't know that Magic the Gathering people are vulgar, they totally are. There's a weird overlap of sickos with Magic.
Well, I think one of the biggest misconceptions of gamers is that they're introverts.
Yeah.
Oh, no my goodness.
Yeah, if you're going to look at me and say introvert.
No, you get them in their environment, and they're just as outgoing as every sports guy in the world, or even more so.
Well, the sports guys are nerds too. It's just a different thing.
That's
it's whatever you're passionate about.
That's exactly
is the difference between a nerd sports guy and a normal sports guy, a guy who just watches the Vikings once a week and talks to the guys at work. That's a sports goer. Right. But the guys who are buying the cards, who are memorizing stats, those are nerds.
That's true.
They're not nerds on Dungeons and Dragons, but they're nerds.
Right. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. But it's a sport. It's they're competing. Well, yeah. But it's just...
You're going to tell me every guy who walks into your shop to buy cards is an athlete? Because I'll tell you right now, they are not.
No, but I mean, but that's true. I agree with you. Yes, that is true.
You're going to argue. Yeah, but they're real people. They're not wizards.
I didn't
whatever.
mean that. It's just... but when you think back to the Olympics, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, there's a different drive to it, but it's still the obsession... is the nerd that I bring. I don't care what you're nerding over, you're a nerd.
That's true.
Because my brother and me, we've always been giant nerds, but he's been a sports guy in his entire life. Just stats. He has more numbers in his mind than anyone I know. And he's a sports... And this is funny. I got a good one. We were at a party, and this chick who was coming to a couple of our parties brings her date, who's this big, huge dude. Mm-hmm. And Marshall... looking at him, my brother Marshall's looking at him, and he's like, "I recognize you. What's your name?" And the guy says, and he's like, "You're a kicker for the Bison." He goes, "Oh yeah, I am a kicker for the Bison." Marshall then just like, "You've had this many field goals, this many," and tells this dude his stats. And I was like, "Is he like the starting kicker?" He's like, "Well, no, not really. I've," and I was like, "How do you have some backup college kicker stats memorized?"
People have that. People know that stuff.
It's insane to me.
Well, you want to watch...
I love it, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. But if you want to look at one of probably like you said, a stat, nerdy show, but it's Moneyball with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing is using numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same scenario.
It's a sports movie, but it's not.
It's a great show. It's really the story.
It's good. I liked it.
It's a great... I've watched it a number. It's really kind of a story of life. If you look at it and...
Yeah.
And the evolution there and what he sees being, it's a great, but you're right, that's a nerd. They got it's like the Dirty Dozen. They got a bunch of really, losers, technically by the baseball profession.
Yeah.
And put them all together, and they became winners because of the stats.
Yeah.
The numbers.
Yeah, the numbers.
But everybody thinks of numbers, they think of nerds.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But sports guys are just number guys too. Yeah.
Baseball especially.
Well, baseball's the biggest. I remember a friend of mine got me into fantasy football one season. I didn't have a role-playing game. I didn't have a D&D game this year, so I went with fantasy football. I enjoyed it. It was fine. And then I got out, and then my brother tried to get me into fantasy baseball. No way. That's literally about an hour meeting with about 6 dudes every day about the games because they do games every night. Like, how could you... And even, I can't even follow baseball because it's too much. I think it's too much to bite. It's too many games.
Think of those guys 30 years ago before the computer. There was a baseball commissioner who did all these numbers and all these stats.
Jesus.
I don't think his family saw him for like 6 months.
If there was only one guy, there had to be one guy per team doing that because there were just so many.
Yeah, but now the computer, it's...
you just...
heartbeat. You watch his fantasy, like Nick has got the... They have it up on the screen, and it shows a tenth of a point. It's not like a constant scoring.
See,
just automatic.
See, and how is that not nerd? That is all nerding.
That's true.
I mean, it's baseball nerding. Sure, he's not fighting dragons with the Wizard of Orc, but I am.
That's right.
But yeah. Okay, so you sold quite a lot of different stuff. So you went not just cars, but you just got a bunch of collectibles. Yeah. And is it just, as you said, people ask for it, so you get them in? So every once in a while, have like those like sports action figures I'll see in there that are cool, or. Did you ever have wrestling stuff? You do too much for pro wrestling?
Yeah. I have a very open mind. In fact, probably too open if you've seen my store.
Oh, gross. Oh,
no, but I put in... variety is the spice of life. So yeah. I have a variety that's...
Well, you got a lot of fun stuff in your store, but it just... so let's just talk about random products that have come and gone, or just come that... Yeah. You didn't think were going to stay, that have just been good. Because I remember maybe it's just my brain, but did you have a bunch of old school like sports action figures when I was a kid in there?
I probably did. Well, we had starting lineups back in the 90s.
Okay.
The SLUs, the little guys. And now we have McFarlane's. They're bigger.
Yeah. McFarlane. I know him. He did comics for a long time.
He paid $3 million for Mark McGwire's home run baseball.
No way. Which home run? The 70th?
The last one, whatever that is. 70, yeah.
Yeah.
$3 million.
Jeez. Did the Hall of Fame come and take the ball away? Yeah, you're right. They don't acknowledge Mark McGwire. I remember that. Well, how was that year for you guys? The Sammy Sosa versus Mark McGwire year must have just been nuts.
It was.
Because it was baseball. No one talked about baseball like they did that year. That year was
Cal
crazy.
Ripken breaking Lou Gehrig. Yeah. Was it Lou's? Yeah. Consecutive games, too. The Iron Man.
5 minutes left? 50 minutes left?
45.
45? All right. I didn't know if you... I didn't look when we started like I normally do. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. So, Lou Gehrig, the Iron Man. So when Cal Ripken broke his record, that was a big... Anytime there's a record being broke.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then those people bring in all the 80s and 90s baseball cards. That's when you should have sold them.
Okay.
Because now society doesn't buy them as much.
So if we get another one of those random spike years where baseball is all everyone talks about, I should just go in and get rid of all my baseball
cards?
Probably
a good idea. I've always said for 27 years, Mark, cards are like a stock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only thing that people misunderstand is you wouldn't believe what the high percentage of people who believe the longer you keep something, the more valuable.
No.
Again, if that were the case, I would be in the Bahamas having a beverage.
Yeah.
Because then all my cards are going up.
Instead of in some random guy's basement having a beverage. Yeah.
And more than ever in our country, when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
And when you're not, you're not.
Well, that goes with
up and down and up and down.
That goes with comics too, and right? I'm pretty sure I bought when everyone was selling. And I really hope there's another one of those spikes, because I was buying comics like crazy, and I don't. Now the big ones are spiking. I don't think any of the small ones are.
But all collectibles, Beanie Babies. What happened to that?
Oh yeah. Were you selling those when those?
I sold those too.
Yeah, when those boomed. What was that? 96.
Boy, that was a long time ago.
97.
I wasn't in when Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Oh yeah, no, that's
that was the 80s,
older than me. Yeah.
But I always tell people.
And then there was Tro Dolls when I was about 91.
Yeah.
Or when I was 91, and about 91, I'm assuming.
But I was probably your age when they showed the two women, and I'm sure it was in Walmart because everything happens. No.
In Walmart.
The two women fighting for the last Cabbage Patch doll. This was on national news.
Yeah.
And this was a cat fight, and I believe that's where women's wrestling came from.
That's where Glow started?
It got a big rating. Yeah. But those two gals were fighting for... And I saw a friend of mine is at the flea market. He had a brand new Cabbage Patch doll in the box yet, for asking $10.
Oh, and you're like, if you could time machine, you could sell that.
Well,
thing
you're Back
for
to
so
the Future.
much.
That's where you got the book.
Yeah, the almanac. The sports almanac, which is every nerd's dream of.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time and buy Detective Comics 27, first appearance of Batman, and come back and just.
Yeah.
I'll buy 2 because I want one for myself. And that's the other problem with being a nerd who likes the collection. I don't really know if I ever went and saw my comics. They're worth a lot of money, but I mean, I have the first appearance of the Punisher right now. You know how cool that is for me? I mean, I can look at that book and just be happy. And who cares if I'm going to make $300 from, I bought it for $2 something if I could sell for $6 something. Who cares? It's a cool book.
But that's the best value, though.
Yeah.
Sentimental value when little guys or people come in. And I got this signed by Chris Carter. That's good. Yeah. It's priceless.
That's
you
priceless.
Handed it to him. It's priceless. That's the best.
Did you get stuff signed from Chris Carter?
No.
Okay.
Me personally?
No. Jeez. You meet any cool guys? Yeah, I remember there was that picture of you and Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar is probably my biggest. Because I'm not good at asking for that. I have Chris Coast was in the store one day. We had a nice talk for about 45 minutes. Super good guy. And he brought it up. He brought it up.
Which one's Chris Coast?
He played for the Philadelphia Phillies, won the Super Bowl, the World Series.
Yeah.
And he coaches over at Concordia.
Oh, wow. He coaches at Concordia?
Yeah. And he played for the Red Hawks, remember?
Oh, yeah. I think I do remember that one.
And he brought it up.
Yeah.
And he said nobody in Fargo, or not nobody, but he said not as many people. He said, when I go to Philadelphia, everybody say, hey, Chris, go. But that's a more of a Midwestern trait. Yeah. We're not going to interrupt somebody having lunch or something.
You're right.
So I think that's just.
I think.
So I said, hey.
the only sports signature I ever got is man, this was a while ago, years and years, but. Kleinsasser from the Vikings, Jim Kleinsasser, went to Sports Bubble and was selling footballs. And then me and Marshall, my brother,
there.
You were there? I was there too. And then we went and got our football signed. And there was this nice little moment in life that just tiny, and this was during some of the best Vikings years, was like the end of Chris Carter. My mom worked at Cinema Grill, if you remember Cinema Grill was a thing.
I do. Downtown.
Yep.
I do.
And they would do, they would play football games big screen.
Right.
And you could get them just for free. You can just walk right in and watch them for free. And
hope you ordered pizza or beer?
Yeah, well, people did.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And so we would go in there and watch football games live on the big screen. Mm-hmm. And there was a tiny community of kids that their parents were brought them, and we would be sitting in the hallway outside, doing football-y stuff. And then I remember the last time I saw all of them was when they were signing. It was about the next season when Kleinsasser was signing his footballs, and I was like, those are all the guys from Cinema Grill. What's up? All the little kids. Nice. Yeah. But yeah, I remember that, and that was, I mean. There's something just about a guy just signing a football. There's only so much fun you can have with that. Well, it wasn't like it was a huge event.
Well, around here, our guys are so good, though.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Erstead and Jimmy Kleinsasser and Phil Hansen. There was a 5-hour line around the mall in 1993 when Phil signed at the mall.
Wow.
I mean, he was going to sign for everybody. That's our guys.
Yeah,
they're just going to be so accommodating and so professional. It's unbelievable. As some of the other guys aren't that way. But the Midwest, our guys have always been really good. They're just so patient. And
So how'd you get that picture behind with you and Brock Lesnar? How did that happen?
Well, we were at... that was the 61 and 61 when Bob Costas and Billy Crystal.
Oh, way over my head on that one.
7 years ago, the movie 61 and 61.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, he's down. They had a big shindig. I don't know how many years back that's been, but 6, 7. That's the same shirt. Look at this.
Oh, wow, it is.
I've had this shirt since 1983.
And have you taken it off?
Probably not.
I always see you wear that shirt. No, that was...
I'm pretty cheap.
It was a joke that me and your guy at the store, Josh, made. If I was like, is that the same Hawaiian shirt he has, or does he got a bunch? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
All look the same.
I'm the cheapest Democrat you'll ever know. That's for dang sure.
I don't know about all that. So meant a lot of cheap people regardless.
But my other help, Josh is from Barnesville, and Dustin and his brother were from Barnesville.
Yeah, I think I remember Dustin.
Those guys were big into autographs. They always got autographs. Well, I happened to be down there, and...
if you want to take a load off, We'll be good. Just come back for the 30-minute mark.
He's got 5 minutes.
Just don't come down here like guys you went over.
So that's how I got it. So he was there, and they kind of said, come on, and I said, sure. And very super great guy.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
How imposing is that guy next to you?
Oh, Sam is, wow.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh, yeah.
I met at a Comic-Con, I met Lou Ferrigno.
Oh.
And his hand engulfs. Because he's not only big, but his hands are big for his size.
Right.
So it went over, like literally I couldn't see my wrist anymore. He just grabbed me, and it was like, my fingers couldn't get through his fingers. His hands were just monstrous.
Yeah.
Like, they were just crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I mean, I've done a couple of those, but I always like that picture of the Brock Lesnar, because he's such a iconic, just look, you look right at it, and you're like, that's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Big, huge dude.
I've got more comments on that picture than anything else. That's unbelievable.
And you're like, yeah, and I beat him up, too.
No.
I beat him in arm wrestle. That's why he took the picture of me.
No, it was fun. It was fun. A lot of fun.
So you've been selling the store for a while, right? So he's just slowly buying it from you, and he's getting it in 2 years?
No.
Oh.
No, there's no contract.
Okay.
Right now it's verbal.
Okay.
So, but there's no paperwork. We'll write.
We'll write
we
it
get
out.
along great.
Yeah.
Josh and I disagree on nothing.
Yeah, and it seems like that too.
I
I've
think
never seen any
we
type
don't. It's unreal. We get along
and
really good.
you've been looking to kind of get out of the store a
There
little
was
bit?
a few years back.
So I thought you talked to John about it at one point.
Well,
Or at least he said you did.
yeah, that's true. I did. We kind of back in '01 with Dustin and his brother. I decided it was time to get back into real estate. So I did go back into real estate for about 10 years. I was back in it. So there was a time that I was starting to think again, maybe
So like 01 to
about 2011,
2011 you were doing it again?
Well,
Wow.
yeah, it was.
Wasn't that kind of the bad time to do it? Wasn't
It was
that
a great
rough?
time. Well, 01 until about. But Fargo didn't get hit.
Oh, yeah.
We have better bankers in Fargo Moorhead. Trust me, we have honest bankers.
Well, at least a couple. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have a lot. But times Fargo's been really good. For a long time.
So you got back into real estate.
I
for
got
about
back
10
into the
years.
real estate. I was doing quite a bit there for a while, and I thought, maybe I want to go back. And then in 12. Dustin went his way. We had falling out there, and we're still good friends. He comes in.
Yeah.
And then my real estate, I didn't have any other help backed up. I had some real part-time people, but not like I had with those guys. I was working very limited back then.
And they were just running the place.
They were really doing a good job.
Yeah.
So, but there was a time in there later on, I'm going to guess 9, 10, somewhere in there, where there was thoughts. I thought, maybe I should go back into real estate, let the store go. And so I was touch and go. I wasn't sure.
But do you think your passion just lives in that store, and you would rather just be there to hang out if there's a lot of just fun there?
When you start something, it's tough to let go sometimes.
Well, yeah, and especially it's not like you've had that store for a year. You've grown that store up. It's your other kid.
Right. Yeah. Ben is my other boy is Ben.
Yeah. No, I mean it's your other one.
Yeah.
It's your other Nick. There's the two Nicks.
Yeah. My brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I understood that reference too. I'm a pop culture guy. I like my 70s some.
Yeah.
I still like to when me and my wife get into like just not real fights but little tizzles. I always say to the moon, Alice.
To the moon. There
and she didn't get that reference for a long time, and then I said that around her family, and then all the her dad and her uncles were like, "Whoa, what are you are you being serious?" Like, no, I'm not being serious. And everyone's like, "What does to the moon mean?" And it's like, it means he's gonna hit her. Like not a lot of people get that one. That's a good one.
Boy, you're going back.
Yeah.
That's a really good
Well, we yell that in the factory sometimes, too.
Yeah.
I'm just like, one of these days!
Unreal.
Yeah. Can you imagine that passed as entertainment back then? As somebody threatening to beat his wife?
But we didn't scrutinize. Now we scrutinize. Everything's under a microscope.
Oh, huge microscope.
You can't.
Huge microscope.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Is
even with what I've had to shift my personality a lot because I'm a big fan of vulgarity, and I've had to shift it a lot, and I'm still on the outskirts. I'm still just barely presentable.
Yeah.
And when I'm like, I used to wear shirts that said "I eat babies" on the back, and I used to just walk around like that. I'd get kicked out of the mall nowadays.
Yikes.
I mean, but I was very punky for a long time, and I really liked to stand out.
That's a phase in life.
Well, I think I stuck on mine. I had my mohawk till I was 27.
I remember that.
Do you remember? Yeah.
I remember that.
And I knew I had no delusions. I realized that my hair was receding too much for it, but I did it anyways.
But you don't have to get a haircut but every 3 months.
Yeah.
Look at the money you saved on haircuts.
Yeah, the mohawk just gets longer. You just have to keep shaving the sides.
Yeah.
But I mean, I when people look down on somebody for a haircut, it always made no sense to me. When it's like, it's just a haircut. It's just what's on their head. Who cares?
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not old-fashioned at all. I'm not even modern.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you touched on something there that's changed me as an older generation. Is I had a bunch of guys come in from Oaks. I think it was Oaks.
Oh,
and
wow.
they would come into my store.
That's like
that was 20 years
South
ago.
North Dakota near South Dakota, right? Oaks.
Yeah, Oaks. Super nice guy. But
Yeah.
when I came in, gosh, and this was before tattoos were really good.
Yeah.
And these guys had tattoos all over. But if you come from my generation,
They were.
the only people who had tattoos was guys in the Navy
guys in
and motorcycle guys.
Oh, and motorcycle
That's the
guys.
only
Yeah.
two guys, people who wore tattoos.
Yeah.
And these guys came in, and they're the nicest guys in the world. But your first impression, I thought, oh my God, look at these guys. I thought, goodness, what's going to happen here? And I don't, even for an old guy like me, I don't judge people. I don't care what you.
I mean,
it's whatever.
It's
works.
about what you are. It's about your personality for me. I don't care what you're dressed as. Like I try not to let of letting that affect how you treat someone when you first meet them. Never made any sense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna immediately be disrespectful to a guy because his hair is a weird way. Right. Whatever. Meet the guy. Learn how he is. Wow. Trust me. There's plenty of reasons to hate me.
Well, it's
not my haircut.
Yeah, but it's easy to stereotype.
It is.
Unfortunately.
And you know, that's not just haircuts. That's just everything.
Everything.
Is. Yeah. And you know, and everyone is a product of it a little bit. I mean, there's certain people who, if I'm walking down the street, I wouldn't say I'll go the other way, but I definitely think, where's my phone? How easy is it going to be to dial 911? You know, but honestly, it's the shaky, methy white guys more than anything.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because I've been jumped a couple times when I lived out in Washington, and both of them were from white guys. And I've been jumped here in Fargo when I was in high school, and it was a gaggle of white dudes and one black guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was, so, I mean, there's pieces of shit of all color.
That's right. That's right. But I think some of the stereotypes hopefully are gone. And that one would be the tattoos. It's America. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever works for you.
Well, it's not like you're tattooing somebody else. It's yourself. Right. Yeah.
But I was amazed
because I'm offended by your Hawaiian shirts.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. But I was. We went down to the street fair yesterday, my wife and I, and she ran in to get a pop or something. And I was standing out there and watching the people go by.
Yeah.
And I said to her last night, while I was standing there watching the people, and it was a warm day, it looked as though more women had tattoos than men. Mm-hmm. Think of that. But
also, more people. I feel I'm weird because I don't have any.
I don't have
at this
any
point.
Either.
When I'm at work, and again, factory you would think should be a little more conservative, but conservative guys have tattoos now. It's everywhere. So I'm one of the only people I know at work. I mean, even my wife, she's got tattoos. I'm one of the only people I know that, I only have one and you can't see it. I got it when I was a kid and it's underneath my pants. And
it never came off of that bazooka wrapper?
Nope.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep, it's stuck. I didn't follow the instructions right. It seared right in.
Yeah.
I was about 16, I got a tattoo, and I knew if I was going to get one, I'd do it where I can hide it, and I forget about it.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I walk by a big Van D Meer, and I'm like, woo, I got taco on my butt? That's weird, huh?
Yeah. But if you go way back to stereotypes, way back, a woman that smoked was considered, a woman even when I was little, in the 50s and 60s, if a woman had a tattoo and you could see it, whoops.
It's like a huge
She was
deal.
usually a motorcycle.
But you noticed it, yeah.
It had a connotation there that whoa, oh,
Yeah.
wow, you know.
Then all the
It's gone.
50s moms in the sewing
Gone.
circle would be like, you see, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and her
Mrs.
tattoo."
Johnson has a tattoo. It's not. She's.
But, I mean, just...
That's all gone now.
There's probably
which is
just...
good. Which
The
is
culture
good.
probably had just changed so much from when that time period. Not just tattoos. I'm sure there's just
Oh.
a bunch of...
Well,
I mean, especially parenting, I've been thinking about of how when I was a kid, I would bike to the mall in
Right.
4th grade from North Fargo.
Right.
I would bike all the way to the mall.
Yeah.
Do you even think if you were driving down the street and you saw a 4th grader on his bike by himself, that'd be nuts? You would think he's just in town or in his neighborhood. He's a block away.
Right.
But if you see him going down 13th,
Right.
people might call someone now.
I probably should.
Yeah, yeah. But I
The
mean,
world-
but at my time it was
not because of the parents.
yeah, but because
It's
the world
because
we're
the
in.
world has changed.
Yeah,
It's not as safe. It's
Yeah.
just a
There's-
simple program.
there's that Bill Burr joke of how he hates it because he used to love talking to kids. And now he can't.
Yeah.
He's like, kids are awesome. I used to
Yeah,
love bullshit
yeah,
with them.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now you do it, everyone's looking at you weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that does kind of suck because I like bullshit with kids too. I mean, I have a bit of that whole. I haven't 100% grown up a lot, so I'm usually pretty good with kids,
Right.
or at least I think I am.
Yeah.
But I talk to my nephews, and kids are just so much different. What you were saying earlier, their faces are in the screens.
Wow, they're
And-
much more sophisticated.
Well,
Trust me on that program.
that
They're
too.
much more educated, much more sophisticated, much more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Because everything's coming at them. We got 24-hour news. We got a thing called a telephone now that those phones are just...
Yeah.
I'm not sure... The jury's still out on that one for me, though. I've always said computers are going to be the downfall
Of man?
Yeah.
I think the downfall of man's been happening for a long time.
Thank
it just
you.
is a very
That-
slow one.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that probably just as soon as the Renaissance happened, we started moving up as a society is when we're gonna the shoe's gonna drop.
Right.
I mean, just think we lived for thousands of years with very little change at all.
Right.
Regime
Right.
changes, and that's
Right.
about it.
Right.
We lived for thousands of years from when we domesticated plants and animals to the Renaissance. This blip is a weird one, but it is still a blip, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean,
it's a big blip. The computer is huge. I think when
but
they
you
look
think that-
back in 100, 200, 500, the computer is going to be one of the biggest. I mean, we have the telephone, we have the television, you have light bulbs. This is big.
yeah,
But
it's
I'm going to
crazy.
put the computer
Huge.
huge.
Yeah.
That changes.
Well, and then just internet, and
Yeah,
not just
yeah. Well,
I mean,
that-
computer is
everything that
one thing,
comes
but
with it.
everything
Yeah,
that
yeah.
comes with it. I know what you're saying. I
It's a
was like,
buffet now.
computer
Now
is
we
just
gotta-
files, isn't it? But yeah, you throw an internet in.
Wow.
I mean, think I'm able to have conversations. I have a friend on Snapchat who lives in Philippines,
Right.
and if I work graveyard shift, I'll talk to her because it's somebody to talk to because it's
Right.
noon for her and it's whatever a.m. for me.
How did you ever meet her?
Through Facebook, she was friends. I think she was friends with somebody, or she came to Fargo for something, and we had a couple mutual friends. And then out of nowhere, she friended me. This is like college, so it's been probably 10 years since I've been friends with her on Facebook. Never met her in person, but it's still something that. Could you believe that I'm talking to somebody in the Philippines randomly, and not only that, but instantly Snapchat instantly sharing a picture.
Right.
I now can tell you what somebody on the other side of the planet looks like right now.
Right.
That's like wizardry. Like that's insanity.
Well, I agree with you, but the biggest thing I look at 9/11 would
Oh.
not have happened in America because they communicated through emails, which the government
Mm-hmm.
cannot. That's a much more difficult.
Well,
As-
especially now.
As
I don't
tapping
think
your
you can-
phone, they can the satellites can get your cell phone in a heartbeat. But
well,
the
it took a while
emails-
for them to get to where we are now on that
right,
technology
right.
because there was a little while where they couldn't pull texts up at all. That when they were
Right.
sent, they were gone.
Right.
That isn't a thing anymore.
Right.
Which means that there's a file right now of a lot of disgusting pictures I have sent questionable women throughout the years. And that FBI agent has a bad job.
Oh my God!
I'm kidding. I'm just joking.
Unreal. another new low.
Yeah.
Another new low.
Just wait. I
think-
feel like I'm not even that bad. But now I can actually finally say to her because we're not in the shop. I don't have to look over and see
Yeah.
the kids looking at Pokemon. I can finally
Yikes.
swear every once in a while. Jeez. That's actually, no, see, we're not actually recording. I just want to be able to talk to you candidly.
Okay,
this
that's
is
fine.
The podcast is all a jest.
Okay.
Might as well be. We scared my producer away.
What is the SWAT unit doing outside your home, Mark?
What is that? Oh, jeez, you scared the crap out of me. Have you heard of that, though? That's a thing. Swatting. Have you ever heard of swatting? It's oh, well, jeez, my phone, speaking of phones. Swatting is a very high-level pranking that people will do.
Oh.
So they do it to gamers. I can show you YouTube videos of this happening. So somebody will be sitting and gaming, and when they know they're streaming,
right,
a SWAT team comes into their house as they're doing it and then tackles them and breaks everything.
It's a big prank?
It's a prank where a different gamer calls, like, no, this guy's house is a drug lab, and calls SWAT teams over to their houses. And it's insane, because think of the tax dollars. That's a prank.
But that's
their
crime.
version
that
of...
That guy's going to get in trouble.
Yeah, but that's their version of egging a house.
We
used to throw eggs at houses.
Was it the movie out called Tag?
Yeah.
Kinda like
I didn't watch that one yet. But the greatest one is the one kid knew what was going on. He had the camera pointed at him, and he's playing whatever Call of Duty, and he goes, "Guys, I think I'm being swatted." And he's like, all right. Like, knew what's going on. I just find that, like, you know, the culture just goes further and further and further. Is back we used to throw eggs at people, and then we knock on their door and run away. Now we send SWAT teams over as a joke.
I think we've passed the line of reasoning there. That's, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's, I mean, what's it going to be like? You're going to walk by and shoot someone and be like, got you!
Yikes!
Yeah, prank!
That's the last prank, I guess, because, yeah, that'll be the new movie. Instead of The Last Mohican, we'll have The Last Prank.
Yeah, the last prank of just somebody like, hey guys, I fired all the bombs. Got you! Boom. So I try not to get extremely political on the podcast, just because strictly I'm not really that political. I talk politics a lot with you, but I do consider myself a centrist or a libertarian or even an anarchist. I'm not really a fan of...
I gotta leave now, Mark.
Yeah, okay. Right? Can I tell you my favorite thing about saying those kind of sentences? Because if you don't want anyone to talk to you about religion or politics, tell them you're a nihilist anarchist, and they immediately write you off.
Yeah.
But anarchism is closer, in my eyes, to libertarianism. It's just smaller government or no government, but it's not no rules.
Okay.
In my opinion, anarchism's rules without government. I don't need Big Daddy telling me what's right or wrong. I know what's right or wrong, and if somebody did something right or wrong, we will tell them. This is a bigger thing. This isn't what I don't want to just start talking politics. I just said I wasn't supposed to. But anyways, is there a lot of that just at your store now, where you just sit and people come in and you bullshit? Is that a good 50% of what you do, if not more?
Well, I always get people. We do talk sports once in a while.
Yeah.
No,
I've talked sports with you once or twice.
I'm very what's going to change in my Josh is not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Well, every once in a while he'll throw in a punchline when me and you were going off, but that's about it.
I've always been, I'm sure over the years there's been a very few, but there has been some, which is an error on my part.
Yeah.
But I would say the great majority of people enjoy my commentary. Just a quick story. One morning, or probably was afternoon after I've had 14 cups of coffee. I'm going, and I was just on some rant or something like this, and there was a gentleman, and he was close to my age. I said, "Is there anything special for you today?" He goes, "No, I just love to hear you talk." So you wanna entertain people with your editorial or whatever.
Well, and you're stuck in that.
But you don't want to offend.
Yeah.
Everybody will get their opinion in my store. They know that.
Yeah.
They will, and you'll get the same price, whether you're a right winger or left or whatever. It's the same price. I'm not going to penalize you for whatever. But I think you always need to have the discussion.
The other day I went and got my coffee, and I walked in there with my buddy. And the guy who started talking, who threw in his 2 cents, like longer hair, I immediately thought he was going to be very left. And then just went very like, Obama and Hillary, same person. They're all horrible. And I was like... Whoa, that's what you get for judging somebody off. I thought he was going to start being like, Obama wasn't bad or something. And he's like, the worst. Trump's way better. And I was like, you picked the hell of a store to walk in.
I think you're right. I think, though, Mark, what's concerning for me as an older person, we grew up with what's the old police show?
MASH. No.
No. Sergeant Friday, Just the Facts, man. It was
Sergeant Friday was a Dragnet.
Dragnet, the old Dragnet show.
Boom.
Thank you.
Pop
God,
culture.
I tell you. But it was Sergeant Friday, Just the Facts, man.
Yeah.
It's the old. I think, unfortunately, more than ever in America, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, unfortunately, we're going.
Yeah. Well, we're at the point where we are now, actually. I can find facts that back up my statement, and you can find facts that back up yours that are 100% opposite. But they're both facts that people will find nowadays.
Well, that could be a scary road
it is
have
scary.
Down the road.
Yeah.
Because
where are we at? Oh, nice.
It's becoming that way, and people hear what they want to hear, and they interpret it the way they want to interpret it.
I feel like I'm in a bit of a odd place when it comes to the factory where I work, because a lot of people are very, very, very right, and I try to be as quiet, which is impossible for me, quiet as possible when it comes to a lot of things, because I don't consider myself very left. But the second I say one left-leaning thing, I now a Karl Marx liberal, shut up, everybody hates me. And that's what I love about being in the center, is my friends on the super far left think I'm this super far right guy, and my friends on the far right think I'm a Marxist. Mm-hmm. So it's like I can't find an equal ground, because at the same time I'm like, hey, I'm pro-gun, and the right-wing guys are like, sweet, and I'm like, yeah, but I believe that everyone should get rights, especially like pro-choice and gay rights, and they're like, get out of here. So it's like we flipping back and forth.
How are they all to right when it's a union shop?
No,
they have what they have.
But the funny thing is the union's about as right as the union can go.
Oh,
that's funny.
Well, okay. Well,
If they get any political backers, it's never left, which is so weird. It's odd. I don't know.
Well,
but it doesn't matter whether they're union or not. It's the fact that they're all small town, guys driving to the factory, working 12 hours a day, talking with other people, doing the exact same thing. That's your bubble. That's your bubble. The same thing the left people. Everybody has a bubble right now, and you got your college kids who are listening to the same podcast, or listening to the same radio, or having the same conversations, who are all forming the same opinion on this, and then you got your guys at the factory who are same thing, their bubble. And that's what it is you're getting nothing but right-wingers talking about right-wing stuff, and you will never be able to walk in and spout out your opinion unless it's agreeing with them. And it comes off on both sides, I think, which is why I lean in the middle.
Well, I've always considered myself a moderate, but I'm sorry to say, as our society has moved further to the right, the moderate looks like they're at the left, and you're like, no, I didn't move my stance at all. I'm still exactly where I was 30 years ago. It's you moved. Yeah. You moved way far this direction. Yeah. And now you look this way.
But and then you're gonna get the moderates for people who are moving super far left. You're looking super far right. And I can't handle either extremes. If I want anyone to go, it's just, can we just cut the ends off and we get just the people who are militant on both sides? Can we just get rid of them so we can be one country again?
I think our country now with 330 million, the two-party system has worked pretty good. Up until a few years back, but we need.
This election is the biggest fail of the two-party system.
It's been
ever.
Well, you guys are going to live long enough.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This isn't water. This is Everclear.
Well, but if you look at the way our system is set up, you could possibly in a few short elections have where a president wins the electoral college, which was set up just in case the working man didn't pick the right guy. The elite, the educated, could say, well, wait a minute, we got the electoral college back. Well, it kind of backfired in the sense that democracy, in its purest sense, Hillary won by 3 million votes. Yeah. If the day comes down the election where the president wins the electoral college but loses the vote by 30 million, then you're going to have a problem. And that's going to happen in America. But
Well,
it's down the road.
I think this was a problem, but it was just the number wasn't big enough. That,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then you even flip at, if you look at the Democrat Party right now, are you really going to look at me in the face and say that was what the majority of Democrats wanted?
No.
And I'm saying I'm agreeing with you on the Electoral College, but I think but the team wants this is going further back into the parties. And especially the Democrat, I feel like if it was if Bernie Sanders was their guy, I don't know. I don't think it would have came this way.
Well, the phrase through the election was bad and worse. We had our choices between bad and worse. We got worse. That's what most people coming into my store say. Yeah, that's how they feel.
And I'm not. I honestly think it's worse and worse. I think I would have had the same amount of complaints. It would just be different wordings. I'd be the same amount, but different type of complaints. I think if she would have got elected. Well, personally, but I don't know.
I always kid people and say, look at the selection my little store has. I have 350 different type of cards. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to our election, we have two.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah.
We should be having 20.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Can you imagine anything like that just being down the two? Like, hey, we no longer have every single NFL team. We just have just have West Coast and East Coast.
That's right. Yeah.
It didn't work for the rap game. They had East Coast versus West Coast, and Big E and Tupac got shot.
Well,
see, come on, guys.
Well, it's like you're advertising the buffet, and people go, "Hey, let's stop. There's a buffet, and you have 2 items." Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. 2 items? You said it was a buffet.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. And I don't understand what the two main parties are so afraid of. If they think that they're the dominant force in this country, let a third guy into the debates. Who cares?
You and I talked about that.
Yeah, we just did. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the good old boys, both of them, Democrats and Republicans, got together and said, "Three's a crowd. Yeah. We're going to squeeze you out." And they both did.
The first election I ever lived through was the one with Ross Perot. It was Bob Dole, Bill Clinton, and Ross Perot.
Right.
And I was probably, 96? 92?
92. I believe that was...
No.
Yeah.
No, this would have been the second Bill Clinton election.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Then that would have been 96.
92 and 90. Okay, yeah, it could have been 96. You're right.
Yeah, because I would never remember when I was 3. So I was 7. Right. So I remember, and then I went to my school where my mom voted, and I have no clue who she voted for because she said it wasn't one of them. And then I had a play kid ballot who I could vote for whoever I want, and I thought it was hilarious if I voted for all 3.
Yeah, right? There you go.
Check that out.
Patronizing everybody.
Good
job, good American.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing about that is I remember in the student election when we were voting, Ross Perot won it.
Right.
And I have no clue how, because it's not like we as elementary kids followed the debate. I think we just voted for the skinny dude who wasn't Bill Clinton. I don't know how he won it.
Hey, Mark, now this is Ross Perot, and I just want to thank you guys for stopping over there today.
Who was it on SNL who did the great Ross Perot? Was it Norm Macdonald or something?
I don't know.
Did a really good one. Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, so then the next election that came up, so I was 4 years older, so that would have made me 11, would have been the first Gore versus Bush, and I thought it was weird that there was only 2. I was like, why is there only 2 guys? Because I've only lived through the 2 elections.
I see.
I thought 3 was a normal thing.
Yeah.
And then when I found out it was just 2, and then it was everything, and then finally I was like, what happened? So then I looked it up, and it was after that when they brought up the percentage of the polls. So it used to be 5% or 3% in order to get in.
It was 5%.
It was 5.
And you got the federal funding, and you got invited to the debates.
Yeah.
And now it's 15%.
Now it's 15.
The Democrats and Republicans colluded together. There's your collusion.
Yeah, there's your collusion.
The collusion.
Yeah, there's your collusion.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they finally got together, but about that one, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that was...
There's about 30 other issues I'd rather you guys reach across the aisle for, but whatever.
That's true.
And then guess who does the polls are those 2. Is how I was watching Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, and I was like, they're going to make it to 15. Look, because they got up to 13, 14%, and then next thing you know, they just stayed there, and then it moved forward. And I was like, who's conducting these polls? He started shooting himself.
Well, he blew, about the city in Syria.
Yep, yeah.
That one, didn't have a clue.
They asked him...
Yeah.
Somebody asked him who his favorite favorite foreign leader was, and he couldn't come up with one. Oh, no. That didn't help. And I was like, he's a libertarian.
Gandhi. Mention anybody.
But just
take anybody.
Name anyone. Like, you can't think of Tony Blair?
Churchill, Winston Churchill.
Just name your foreign... Yeah, it doesn't matter who. You could have came up with one of them. And as much as I agreed and disagreed with him, he was still the person I agreed with most and disagreed with most, or least. And that's what led me to, I'm going to vote for him. And then, of course, everyone's telling me I'm throwing my vote away because it's not for one of the main two. And
in North Dakota, it's not going to matter.
It's not going to matter. If I voted for Hillary in North Dakota, you think that I wouldn't have been throwing my vote away?
No, you wouldn't.
But also what I wanted to do, what I wanted the overall goal of this last election was, I've been told many people, vote for the third party because I would love for it to be such a big number that next year we're going to be...
Exactly.
You got to push it.
Exactly the right.
So the next election would be like 30 people voted for a third party. It's not impossible, guys. We can get one in. Because we can. But there's all that rhetoric of wasting your vote, throwing your vote away, this, that. And it's...
I think you're right, but the bigger thing is the money is in the two big ones. It's tough.
And
you're going to have to get somebody...
Does the Democratic Party even exist right now? They fell apart.
It does on the coast. But if the system is becoming more flawed all the time, and some people aren't going to want to hear this, but you got to understand, we have 2 U.S. senators for North Dakota with a population of 700,000. Mm-hmm. You have 2 U.S. senators in California. For 38 million.
Yeah,
they get 2 senators in Wyoming for 350,000.
Yeah, Jesus.
And we're still going back to California, 38 million.
Yeah, Jesus. So, well, and that's the guy in California who wants to split it in the 4 states. And then certain people are getting mad. Did you see that? There was a recent one that actually a lot of people in California voted for, and it almost looked like it's a possibility. And then some people are like, that's so wrong. Why? Look at New England is half the size of California, and there's like 10 states there. Like, why can't you break California if they want to? And especially politically, if the North Cali loses their entire state because of LA, I wouldn't want, like, they're so far away, they might as well... North California is as far away from LA as we are to North California. Like, why do they care what Southern California's political views are? I would be pissed if I was them, if I was different.
Well, but if you look at North Dakota and South Dakota were split up, that was politics.
Yeah, what's that?
We were Dakota, but they split it up to get twice as many. I'm sorry, I believe it was the Republicans who put that into play.
Well, there wasn't Democrats yet back then.
Yeah. But they that
was back when
politics too.
Yeah, that was back when it was feudalists versus Republicans, which isn't even a thing anymore. Whatever happened to the feudalists?
Well, we did have a couple. We had the Whig Party, won a couple, and the Federalist Party.
Yeah, Federalists. That was it. The Federalists was a thing for a while.
People at times.
Yeah.
John Anderson, and before your time in 1980, did pretty good as a third-party candidate. Really? John Anderson was...
Well, and I remember always hearing about Ralph Nader. It was a thing, but I don't think he ever really got past... He said something about marijuana, and that's when all the potheads in my high school were all like, vote Ralph Nader, get high. And I was like, did he actually say that? I know you don't watch TV, dude. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, Ralph... Well, that opens up a can of worms in Florida then. Because his running changed that whole...
Oh, really?
But then again, they should have waited. But I've never quite understood... I've always been under the impression that the Electoral College, the electoral votes that a state has, is the sovereign... They are the sovereign owner of those electoral votes.
Yeah.
Not the federal government.
Yeah.
That's the state government owns those electoral votes.
Yeah.
So I thought when the Florida Supreme Court ruled in favor of Gore that he won, that was the end. Because those 3 electoral votes that North Dakota has are the property of the state.
Yeah.
Why we went to the federal government and to the Supreme Court to overrule a state court that, that's like somebody overruled, you own this. But no,
it's literally it's dropping the curtain and letting you realize that the state at this point is just it's a border that seems not to matter at all. I mean, even the more and more it really doesn't feel like the state Supreme Court has much footing at all.
That one I just didn't quite agree with. I thought that was the state's property. Each individual state had that's their.
But you're only saying that because you voted Gore. So.
Bro, that's true. But still, if it comes up the other way, I always thought, North Dakotas are North Dakotas. Like, that's their three votes. That's not the federal government's votes. Mm-hmm. That's the states' rights vote. Boy, I sound like a Republican when I say
you're starting to sound like it.
Yikes! Uh-oh.
But I'm a small government guy, so that's
I have
the few
voted
times.
for some good Republicans.
I've locally voted for some.
I have to.
I don't know if I.
It's been.
I didn't. I was working this last election. I feel like a jerk. I didn't vote. The one that just happened.
Yikes!
This year. I know.
I always vote.
I try to, but I missed it. I messed it up.
I tell people, you don't vote, you can't bitch.
Well, then start doing it on a time that isn't 3:00 on a Tuesday, you jerks. Start letting voting happen when we actually can do it.
You can vote for 2 weeks ahead of time. They have early voting.
Well, that sounds hard. It should be an app.
Well, Australia, you get the day off and get paid.
That's awesome.
You got to vote. You don't get paid.
They do in a lot of different countries where they take the day off. But I just got to say, how is it easier for me to, like, vote for my favorite singer on American Idol? No, because that's a 1-800 number that they pay for. I can just call and be like, click 1. That's it. I voted for, How is it easier to do that than your own country? Come on.
Yeah.
I should be able to call and be like, hey, what do you want? All right, I don't like this guy, so this guy. All right, cool. Click. Yeah. God bless America.
Well,
hang up.
Americans just need to vote more. It's unfortunate that only 50%. We send troops all over the world
and we don't.
to get people to vote, and half of our people vote. That's tragic. That's not right.
They're like, this place needs to be a democracy, and they're like, what's that mean? We're not really sure, so we haven't voted either.
That's sad, though, when you think about it. But
I know. I think this is a good spot to end it. I'm glad you came in and talked, though.
Thank you for asking.
All right. And there you guys have it. That was my talk with Mr. Big, the owner of Big Nick's down in the mall. If you guys go to the mall, you should pop down there. It's a really cool shop. There's a lot more stuff down there than just Magic cards and baseball cards. It's some really cool stuff. But yeah, that was a good talk. I'm glad we talked about what we did. We got in a little bit into politics, and I'm okay with that every once in a while. I try not to talk politics heavy on the show. It is not a political podcast by any means, but everybody's got their views, and it's good to talk about them when they're not horribly conflicting. And ours wasn't. So there you go. And I'm excited to show you guys next week. So next week will be episode 8, coming out 7 days from now, and it will be the owner of Alley Cat Studios, named Elisa Alry. Pretty good friend of mine, pretty good artist. She's a member of the Fargo North Visual Artists Board, and she's been running her own business of doing caricatures and airbrush tattoos and things like that all around the entire area. And yeah, I'm really excited to share that conversation with you. It went pretty good. But until then, stay safe and, don't get run over by a van. Bye.